Judge cranks one. Deep left field. A grand slam.
Bases loaded. Hits the stand. Swung on. And drilled deep to left field. There it goes. See ya.
Lost. You're not going to hit the ball. You're going to swing and miss. Now it's Chisholm. High drive. Right field. Goodbye.
Hello and welcome to the second Vinny Talks Yanks. I'm your host, Vincent LaRose. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Today I wanted to get into the Yankees defensive lineup and who we might see at certain positions, some guaranteed or some expected, some not. And I want to do a little bit of a lineup prediction at the end. I don't know, obviously. There's still possible signings coming, but as of right now, it looks like it's going to be tough to get off Marcus Stroman. So this looks about it. Maybe other than the Yankees end of spring training addition that they always do. But we will see. I'm going to go off of our 40-man roster as of now. So let's get into it. So first, catchers. We have Austin Wells, who will obviously be the starter. A little bit better defensively than we may have thought while he was coming up, and hopefully the bat can be hot like it was last year. So defensively, though, he seems to be solid, a good catcher, and it doesn't seem like we're gonna have too many problems with him. And the backup will be J.C. Escada. Don't really know much about him. I know we traded for him. I think he's about average defensively. I don't think much more. I don't think the bat is great, and I think that's why he's been a career backup catcher, but we will see. But the catcher is going to be about the same as last year. Obviously losing Jose Trevino defensively is not the greatest. But we will see. Austin Wells seems to be, I think he's going to have a really good season. So, Rookie of the Year voting, even though there wasn't much to vote for, but he seems like not a bad guy to have behind the plate. So then we'll move on to first base. Obviously, as most know, we signed Paul Goldschmidt this offseason. Good defensively. He's won a couple Gold Gloves. Offensively, last year was a down year, but has had some, for the most part, his entire career has been a Hall of Fame. He's on a Hall of Fame path, so nothing to be too ashamed of. But we will likely see him about, I'm gonna say probably 110 to 125 games at first base. He's old, so I think they're going to try their best to give him his days. And down the depth chart, we have Cody Bellinger, DJ LeMahieu, Ben Rice, Oswaldo Cabrera, all really just different guys to throw at first base if needed. I think DJ will get some run at first base only because of his contract, and third, a couple of other positions as well. Cody Bellinger, I see him more as the emergency first baseman. Not emergency, but at least to start the season, just a guy that may go in every once in a while. So, maybe get Trent Grisham a day in center field, throw him at first. If they don't throw him in left or right, but yeah, I don't expect to see Cody Bellinger too much at first base. With the Paul Goldschmidt signing and knowing we still have DJ, Ben Rice is probably going to be in AAA, unless there's an injury, of course. So, and Oswaldo Cabrera is just a super utility. So, may see him 2-3 times throughout the entire season for an inning or two. So on to second base now. Second base, we got DJ LeMahieu, Jazz Chisholm, Oswaldo Cabrera, Oswaldo Peraza, and Jorbit Vivas. As of now, in my humble opinion, I think they roll with Jazz at second to start, at least. I think they want to keep him at second in his more comfortable, natural position, although it's really, the guy can probably play anywhere, but I think third base will be more of the question mark rolling guys in and out of there, different guys probably all the time. But Oswaldo Cabrera's in there. He's gonna just be a plug and play guy. We all know about Oswaldo Cabrera. DJ LeMahieu, again, that contract. I mean, he's going to get playing time, unless there's an injury. So second base, I know he hasn't played too much second base in the last couple of years, but maybe every once in a while throw him in there when you want to if somebody's hurt or you want to give Jazz a day off. Whatever they decide. I really see this as a lock, as Jazz Chisholm playing almost the entire season at second base, barring injury. But you also got Peraza, who has no options left, so you're gonna have to pretty much play him until you can't anymore. I mean, Peraza was I think he was very mishandled by the Yankees in the farm system. He seems very good unless it's below 50 degrees, probably even 60 degrees. Doesn't seem great in the cold, as his stats have shown, but very good defensively with a great arm. I think we'll see him more at third base than second base, So we will see, but because they don't even have him listed as a shortstop here, which I think if he's on the roster, I think he's the backup shortstop over Cabrera. But anyways, we'll on the third base listed. They have Chisholm, Cabrera, LeMahieu, and Jorbit Vivas. Again, Jorbit Vivas will more than likely stay in AAA. But they don't. They don't even have Peraza listed as a third baseman, which is where I think we'll see him play more than any other position. I think it's really going to just be a flip-flop of Cabrera, LeMahieu, Peraza. Maybe, Cabrera starts the season off hot like he did last year, and you go with the hot hand. Maybe based on the matchups, we'll see. I think at third base is really, at least for the first half of the season, is going to just be a bundle of three different guys with Cabrera, LeMahieu, and Peraza. I think they just keep Chisholm over at second base, keep him comfortable, and I think he's comfortable anywhere, but I think he stays at second and they kind of work. But it also could be flip flopped where they throw Chisholm at third and flip flop second base a lot. But we'll see. DJ LeMahieu's gotten a lot more run at third base since coming to the Yankees, so I think they're gonna run him at third with a mixture of Cabrera and Peraza, but I don't know. It's a weird situation. I wish they would have just got somebody to be a guaranteed third baseman, but that probably puts Peraza in a spot where he doesn't have a spot to begin with. So yeah, we'll see. Shortstops we have listed. It has Volpe, Cabrera, and it doesn't have Peraza listed, but I'm going to just throw him in there because it should have him. He came up as a shortstop, and he's really good defensively, so I don't see why he wouldn't be listed as a shortstop. But obviously we know Volpe plays almost every day. I think he missed a couple games the last 2 seasons being sick or sore or something like that. He hasn't had an injury yet to start his MLB career. But if that was the case, or he were to get hurt, I think they run Peraza there every day over Cabrera, because I think, again, like I said, I think Cabrera is more of your everywhere guy where you're going to throw in a bunch of different positions. I think it's really good to have a utility guy like that, so I really wouldn't want him to be just stuck in one spot, although it's good because I'm not upset with Cabrera being a backup to Volpe, but in my opinion, how they're going to run it, I think they have Peraza there, and then they keep flip-flopping Cabrera and LeMahieu, but if Volpe were to get hurt, but I mean, to be honest, LeMahieu's probably going to get hurt, so he's in the same boat as Stanton, so I think Cabrera is probably going to get his spot more at third base than anywhere else, but that is to be seen. Outfield-wise, I have basically everybody listed at the same position, so I'm just going to go by every outfielder we have. So we have start off, we have Dominguez, Bellinger, Judge. They have Cabrera obviously listed as one. Pereira, Trent Grisham, and I believe that's it. And they have Stanton, but we know Stanton's probably not going to play the outfield. So more than likely what we'll see in, day out, most games will have Bellinger in center, Dominguez in left, and Judge in right, barring anybody's injury. Trent Grisham is pretty much just a backup center fielder, but obviously there's no issues throwing him in left or right field. He's a great defensive center fielder. Pereira seems to be one of the guys that will be fighting for a roster spot, so we'll see. Usually they roll out to start. I don't remember if it was 3 or 4. But to start, I think it's 3 guys that they usually roll out on the bench, and obviously one's your backup catcher, one's going to be Cabrera on the bench because he's going to be moving around, and then I believe I've seen a lot of talks about Pereira basically fighting for a spot. Obviously, the Yankees, they usually have, again, they are going to have a bunch of spring training invites, so which hasn't yet to be announced, but we'll see. I see Pereira. I don't see Pereira making the team initially. I think they're going to go for more. I think they roll 4. I might be wrong. Don't quote me on it. It might be 4 guys on the bench. Let me see. I think it's 4. I might be wrong, though. I'm not 100% sure. But regardless of the fact, I don't see Pereira making the team. I see it being the bench being considered Cabrera. It's 12, right? Maybe it's 3, maybe it's 4. I'm sorry. This is going to bother me now. But I see the bench being our backup, whoever our backup catcher is. I mean, obviously, likely going to be J.C. Escada, but you never know because I didn't even know he played baseball until we traded for him, to be honest. Not to be like that, but. And surprised they actually don't have Ben Rice listed as a backup catcher. Maybe they don't trust him. He came up as a catcher, but. Anyways, you're going to have your backup catcher and either 2 or 3 guys, depending how many they roll out in the bullpen. Usually, I believe the Yankees usually do the weird stuff to manipulate it. They roll 4 guys out there, and then immediately after, I think it's 10 days. I think it's either a week or 10 days, or you're not. It's something weird. Unless it's an injury, you're not supposed to move anybody up or down. But I think Pereira will be. I don't think Pereira is going to make the team initially. I think he's going to be called up after the fact. I'm not really sure about his options and how many he does have. Let's see if I can see how many options he has here. Let's see. Does it show if he has any options? Game log splits. I don't see anything on his options. I'm not really sure about his options, to be honest, but I'm pretty sure he has enough to where they probably do what they did. I think he's going to be a guy that the Yankees go up and down with, just like they did Peraza for the past couple seasons, which will effectively run out of he will eventually run out of options like they did here. Oh, and on the depth chart, they have Stanton as the only designated hitter, but obviously that can change with Judge. But, so I think likely what they'll roll out is Goldschmidt. Like 75% of the time will be at first base. You'll have, I think they're gonna stick to just Chisholm at second. Volpe is short. A mixture of DJ, Peraza, and Cabrera at third, depending on matchup and hot hand and injury, of course. And your everyday outfield is likely gonna just be left field being Dominguez, center field Bellinger, and Judge and right. I'm sure Stanton will likely get hurt at some point this season, so we'll see what they decide to do with the DH spot. Obviously, last year, you had the option for Soto and Judge, so it's a little bit more of a, you had a little more room for a couple guys, but I think Judge will probably just likely Stanton will get days off and Judge will be in right, and I think Judge will be DH, and I think those are the days you'll see probably either Pereira or Grisham in the outfield, so we'll see. The defensive lineup is a little tough with the Yankees because, again, like I said, it's just it really depends on how many guys they decide to start on the bench this season to start the season before the 10 days, and how many guys they want out of the bullpen. I think, like I said, they'll probably have a couple of spring training invites. Usually we end up actually signing one and him being on the team to start. Sometimes I don't remember if I don't think it's ever been in the past couple of years that they've done this. I don't think it's ever been two. I know they've always had that one, random spring training invite. So we'll see. Hopefully it's an actual third baseman. Not that I don't trust some of these guys, but I want a real third baseman with the bat. Cabrera has been very streaky. He's proven himself enough. I don't question his defensive abilities. It's just his bat. It's a little weird. He's listed as a switch hitter, but he's not he's kind of a switch hitter, So it's a little bit of a kind of odd situation with that. So I don't really know how how they play. Like matchups it's gonna be hard to go by matchups because you don't know if they're gonna be. It's like all right, this is a guy that we want Oswaldo hitting left-handed against, or hitting right-handed again. Like you see a lot of lefty with him, and not so much. You'll never see righty because his left-hand side is much stronger. But sometimes if I think they go based on a pitcher's release point, depending on the lefty. Like I believe, for example, if he goes up against a guy like Chris Sale, that he's just gonna go from the right side, he's not even gonna touch the left-hand side. But it might be the other way around. I'm honestly not 100% sure, but to me, that's what it seems. So yeah, that's as of now. That's what it looks like. I don't see them signing anybody. They've gotten into a really tight spot. They really don't want to go much over that 301. I think they're at like 302 right now. So I'm not 100% sure how much up they are on that. So we'll see. I think they're really just trying to get off of Stroman right now. And if they can get off of Stroman, we might see a random addition. I was thinking Polanco, but I know he just re-signed to Seattle. Or I don't really know who else is out there. So, pitchers and catchers is, I believe, in 2 weeks. So maybe a week and a half. Today's February. No, 2 weeks. Today's February 1st. About 2 weeks. So, but that's where I see the defensive side, how it rolls out. So now I'll get into more of to get into the lineup now. What I predict the lineup being, again, just like third base, the leadoff position, I think is probably going to be the hardest to actually guess right. I really don't know. To be completely honest, I don't know who they're going to roll out there. I don't think it's going to be DJ. It's strange. So if I had to go based off just like, say, regular games, say they give Cabrera the start at third base, so I think honestly they're going to either roll Volpe or Jazz. They've both been leadoff hitters in their career at some point, and they've both been pretty bad. I wouldn't say pretty bad, but they have not thrived in the leadoff spot like they have in other positions of the order, especially knowing that this leadoff spot with Judge definitely going back to the 2-hole is going to get pitches to hit. They don't want to walk you. So that's where it's tough. I think that's where they go Jazz. And I'm really not confident in that pick. I truthfully don't know. I don't think they roll Bellinger first and 1. So, but besides that, 2 is obviously Judge. I think 3 will either be Cody Bellinger or Austin Wells. I think they're going to be flip-flop 3 or 5. Who hits third and who hits fifth. Stanton's going to be 4 while playing, because when Stanton is hurt, there's a whole different kind of lineup you can get into. But 4, I'll just for opening day wise, Stanton 4. I'll go Wells 5. I'll go Bellinger 3rd to start. I think they'll start off with Bellinger, and then 6, 7, 8, 9 is where we get into our. I think they'll have probably Goldschmidt 6 after either Wells or Bellinger. 7, I think that's where you throw in Dominguez. I know Dominguez might eventually move up a little bit depending on, how he adjusts to the MLB. But I don't know. I don't think he ever hits in the leadoff spot, to be honest, although he is fast. Hasn't really shown a great eye, and that's the only reason why I think Volpe. But anyways, so this is my order if they have Chisholm leading off. I'd go Chisholm, Judge, Bellinger, Stanton, Wells, Goldschmidt. Then I think that's where you throw in Dominguez, Volpe 8, and then Cabrera 9. That's where I think we go with that. I think Cabrera is going to stay in the lower part of the order, especially being a switch hitter. I think if DJ's in the lineup, you swap. I don't really know. Oh, this is so difficult to get into because there's so many, just 3 guys that could play. But I think if it's Cabrera or Peraza, they're both in the 9 spot. I think if DJ's, I think they're Yankees have always been like respecting guys. I don't think they throw him in the 9 hole, even though I'd want him in the 9 hole. Maybe the 8 hole and swap him and Volpe when DJ's playing. Have him in 8 so we have like a double leadoff kind of guy. But I am not really too sure. I'm honestly banking on DJ getting hurt. There's nothing. It sucks because like when I was the one like 5 years, $100 million. I was like, yeah, that's a good contract, and obviously that wasn't great. I mean, I thought the Aaron Hicks contract was pretty good too, but whatever. I'm not. It's obviously why I'm not a GM, but and probably never will be. But I think DJ is a guy we expect to get hurt, just like we expect Stanton to get hurt. And third base is a spot where the problem is DJ is a guy we expect to get hurt, and if he does get hurt, oh well. Stanton this year, I know he hasn't performed in the regular season too well, hasn't been great, I would say. He's been good, not great, but we need him this year. Losing Soto and that bat is tough. That's a really, really good bat to lose out on. So I think Stanton's going to need to play a big part this year, because if he's out, there's not really a bat to replace him with, because we are already missing a bat to begin with. We really should have one more bat in this lineup. I feel much better with one more bat in this lineup, and it doesn't look like we're going to get that bat. And if we do get that bat that works out, it'll be a complete surprise to everybody. Maybe not a complete surprise, but it'll be unexpected. It'll be a Cabrera, actually staying consistently, being a consistently good hitter. Or maybe Peraza finally decides that he's going to hit in the MLB. But it's tough because we're relying on guys like Dominguez and Wells to be very good. Like, very good. Like, this team is not going to perform without them being good, which sucks. Not that it sucks, but it's a tough ask to ask one rookie and one guy who just got out of his rookie season, who also has to catch. So usually catchers don't hit well. It's very rare for catchers to hit well, and we need ours to hit well, because this lineup is not the best. I believe they're good enough to again win the American League. I don't think they even come close to matching up to like the top 4 teams in the NL. Dodgers have a better lineup. Phillies probably have a better. Braves 100% have a better lineup, but the Braves are really good at getting hurt, so we'll see. But I'd probably put the Phillies lineup over ours too. Iffy, but I probably would, even though like JT Realmuto's on the downside. But anyways, this lineup is hard to predict. We really don't know. The 1 hole means everything, because if we have a consistent change with the 1 hole all the time, the rest of the lineup's going to change. So because if you don't have Jazz hitting 1, you can't have him really hit you. You really don't put him anything less than 6. So then at that point you're putting Goldschmidt lower than 6. I don't see this being a selfish group of players. I don't see any of these guys being genuinely upset at their position in the batting order or their spot in the batting order. So we will see how this goes. This is a little bit of a tough prediction because there's a lot of factors that go into it. There's a lot of guys they could sign out of spring training on minimum deals. So we will see. I think a lot of it really just depends on if they can get off Stroman and get it off a decent chunk of his contract. Because if they can't get off a decent chunk of his contract, I think we're at a standstill. On another note, I want to speak on Hal's recent comments the other day. Let me look the exact quote up so I'm not misinterpreting anything. But from my understanding, he's essentially saying that they can't compete with the Dodgers' price spending. See, what was it? Hal Steinbrenner of the New York Yankees owner admitted that it is difficult for MLB teams' owners to compete with the Los Angeles Dodgers spending. However, he believes his team is better than it was at this time last year. So I will say this. Is his team better than it was last year? On the pitching side, 100%. The pitching got so much better. And I will agree, I think we are better going into this season than we are last season. I will say this. When he says admitted that it's difficult for MLB team owners to compete with the Los Angeles Dodgers spending. I'll say this right now. 1, Mets have way more money. So, no. And 2, Yankees also have a lot of money. So to say that we cannot spend as much as they, or essentially can't spend as much as they do, is BS. He can. He does not want to. Hal Steinbrenner makes no sense to me because sometimes I see quotes where he's like, yep, we're going all in. This is our year, blah, blah, blah. And then other times I see quotes like this where it's like, hey, man, I spend $50 to park at a Yankee game when I go to a Yankee game. It costs me $50 to park. You can't sit here and tell me you can't afford it. Complete BS. I don't get it. But I really don't want to get too much into it, honestly, because it upsets me a lot. Anyways, that will be the end of this podcast. Thank you for listening. If you enjoy, follow along. If not, I'm sorry. But everybody have a wonderful day.